on the water, an adventure around this great brown land and beyond. We're going to have a look at vessels and watercraft, from manpower to wind power, and we'll even crank it up with horsepower. So strap on your life jacket and get set to get wet on the water. Designed with disabled sailors firmly in mind and a view to the Beijing Olympics, today we're having a look at a Scud 18. The Scud 18 was developed by Melbourne designer and boat builder Chris Mitchell from Access Sailing in collaboration with Julian Bethwaite from Bethwaite Designs in Sydney. Scud stands for Skiff of Universal Design and is 18 feet long. It is designed as a sports boat with a lead ballasted keel, which makes it absolutely perfect for disabled sailors to be able to use. It's a one design boat right down to where the control lines hit the base of the mast, and then it can be adapted for anybody, any way that it's going to suit them the best. Chris Mitchell, designer of the Scud 18, what was the purpose behind the design of this particular boat?
Principally, we wanted to develop a boat that would be used in the Paralympics, a two-person craft. It needed to be fast. There are other boats around, but it needed to be pretty zappy. In Beijing, the format will be 2 seats on the centre line. That's so as they can have a person of a very severe disability and someone of a lesser disability sitting in the front controlling the sheets. But the boat is really designed to have, as just a crew, anyone sailing it, 2 people both who can hike on the side of the boat, on the gunnel. But we're also setting the boat up as a 3-person craft, and we'll take maybe 2/3 of the ballast off it. It now has 140 kilos. It'll have, say, 50, 55 kilos, and probably the same rig, might be slightly different, but with 3-person crew, and that could be 1 person on the centre line, 1 hiking, and 1 on trapeze. Now that'd be a very interesting format, and for someone who has a severe disability, that's got to be a sensational way to go sailing.
David Staley from Access Sailing. The Scud 18 is the high performance member of the Access Sail group, but you do have other boats in the garage.
The Scud 18 is the top of the range. It's the high performance boat, but there's a range of other Access dinghies which basically provide a stepping stone from the beginning of the sport right through to high performance and Paralympic level.
Of course, sailing with disability isn't the only reason for Access Sailing, but it's a varying range of disabilities in which people can sail these boats.
Well, the Access classes are all designed to be universal, and that means that they're ideal for people with a disability, but that doesn't prevent able-bods having a go as well. In our championships, it's usually around about 70% people with a disability, and they're really just a great fun little boat for people to learn to sail in.
Okay, what we're looking at here is the Paralympic seating arrangement in line up the centre line of the boat. Because the Paralympians are not going to be able to hike out, we've got to rely on 140 kilos of lead ballast in the bulb of the keel to keep the boat stable. You can see Amy here, she's using the foot control joystick to be able to steer the boat. You've also got a hand control here should that be required. You can see the control lines coming down from the mast in front of Lee here. These can be set up so that they are going to suit any individual and play to their strengths while sailing this particular type of boat, the Scud 18. Okay, the Scud 18 is not just for sailors with disabilities. You take the seats out and the special kind of steering, and you can even hike on them, and it becomes an 18-foot sports boat. You can have 2 to 3 crew on these moving about very freely around the boat, and you can even get the guys out in trapeze, as you can see behind me. One of the many sailors vying for a position in the Paralympic team, sailing team for Beijing in 2008. What got you into sailing?
My parents for starters, and I also wanted something to do with my life, basically just freedom of the water and all that sort of stuff as well.
Now, what is your particular disability?
It's called phocoamelia. It's a deficiency of the limbs.
Does that mean that they're not developed properly?
Yep, I think from being a fetus or something like that. it's an environmental. We believe it's environmental. We're not quite sure.
Okay, now you are steering a scud with your left foot and 3 toes.
I am.
Now, one of the things about these particular boats is they're very, very difficult to tip over. Now, you're in fact strapped to the seat, is that right?
Yes. I've seen these boats to their maximum, and the way that they've been handled and not being able to tip over, it's just great. It's obvious that I'm not in any danger whatsoever.
So the level of confidence and, as you said earlier, freedom on the water must be quite exhilarating based on the limited movement that you have.
Yeah, it is. Just being able to do something by myself, or even with someone else on the water, is just fantastic.
Who are you vying for a place in the team with for the Paralympic squad?
A sailor called Dennis Critchley.
And what is his particular disability?
I believe he's a paraplegic.
Okay, now, what sort of training are the two of you going to go through together to be able to compete at Beijing?
For starters, we'll actually have to sail together, which comes in handy. But then we'll also have to go through various racings and various trial events to get into the qualifying teams.
Okay, now, are you wearing a life jacket on board?
I am, but it won't actually help at all.
Because if you're strapped in and the
Yeah,
boat...
I'm not going anywhere.
Now, the designers must be very, very confident in the boat's ability to stay upright.
They are. They've designed, that's the whole purpose of the way that they've designed it. The whole access dinghy range is designed so that they cannot tip over.
Now, is there, at any point, do you get scared when you're out on the water?
Quite often. I know that it can't tip, but that doesn't take away the fear that it might tip.
Is that part of it? Is that the fear is sort of allowing you that, you know, that adrenaline? Everyone's looking for a little bit of adrenaline in their life, and you think that's sort of part and key of it?
For sure.
When you're steering the boat, as the helmsman, are you giving the crew plenty of advice on trimming and things like that, or is there a lot of discussion going on?
It's mostly discussion. It's a joint effort and that's what makes it even better for being a Paralympic team. If you win together, you win together, and if you lose together, you lose together. It's no one's fault. It's just both of ours.
I think that's the same with any team sport. Amy Barnbrook, it's been great catching up with you. Good luck for the 2008 Beijing Paralympic sailing team, and we will see you on the water.
Thank you very much.
We've had a chat to Amy Barnbrook and had a look at the Scud 18. Hopefully she makes a team for the 2008 Beijing Olympics, and I'll tell you what, get on board and support our Paralympians, because they are fantastic people and they're doing a fantastic job for Australian sport. Stick around, because after the break we've got more. Well, that's it for another week. We hope you've enjoyed the show. So whether you're hanging off the wire or winning in national titles or even sailing over the horizon, remember, a bad day on the water is better than a good day at work. See you next week.